What is up, guys, and welcome to Monoposto Drive the Career for Season 6 for the 2027 Formula 1 season. It has been a long time waiting, and after quite a lot of months waiting, Monoposto Season 6 is here. And for the first time ever in this series, this episode for pre-season testing will be commentated. So I will be doing a recap on how the teams have done during the off-season. There was no regulation change, by the way, for this season, since there's been so many, quite a lot. And I'll give a recap of what happened last year. If you remember what happened last year, Gasly went on to win his second title with McLaren, and now he is the defending champion, and is the first Frenchman to win multiple championships at McLaren since Alain Prost. So, without further ado, with Alonso retiring as well, he left, and that's left a gap at Aston Martin. So, without further ado, let's dive into pre-season testing. We've arrived here at Sakhir for the 2027 Formula 1 season for pre-season testing at Sakhir. A number of regulation changes have happened in the past, but this time there aren't any. And here is the calendar for this season. And as you can see, Malaysia has returned to the calendar for round 2. China has now moved to round 3. Bahrain is now round 4. Qatar is back on the calendar for round number 5. Spain is gone. Imola, Canada, Austria are not on the calendar this year. Mexico isn't as well. Mugello is back on the calendar as well, along with Germany making a return. Azerbaijan is now moved to round number 13 here for Formula 1. Germany is now round number 9. And as you can see as well, Saudi Arabia, some of it's still sticking with the same. Saudi's still there. Miami is back with a double header in USA with Las Vegas. And a change for the final round, as the final round will once again be at Interlagos in Brazil, with Abu Dhabi being round number 19. So a 20 race calendar once again. So we are going to dive into the teams and see how they did. First of all, we start off with McLaren. They are unchanged with the lineup with two-time champion Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri. Gasly reported to have an issue with his car, and he had to pull over and stop the car. And as you can tell, the Frenchman wasn't happy when he came on into the team radio talking to the McLaren crew.
Yeah, I can't drive like this, engine problem.
We see an issue, we see the problem.
However, they were able to fix the car, and Gasly managed to go second quickest in testing, showing McLaren are able to still be beaten for that season. Meanwhile, we've got Carlos Sainz on board. Meanwhile, suffering a heavy crash, but thankfully was able to walk away and was okay after the accident, but wasn't happy in the team radio.
Yeah, I'm okay, but
Did you? I haven't seen. Did you crash? Can you rejoin?
okay. No, like assist card delivery.
Okay. So remember, you need to switch off fully the car. Switch off fully the car. And jump clear of the car. Jump clear.
On to Ferrari now, as they have recruited 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, replacing Arthur Leclerc to partner alongside Charles Leclerc. The 7-time world champion has returned, and Ferrari are shown to have to be fighting at the front once again. Despite Lewis Hamilton making this mistake during testing, he was still able to continue. But Ferrari have finally found their pace after last season's difficulty, and are now back in the front once again. Meanwhile, with Aston Martin, they made 2 big signings, with Adrian Newey joining Aston Martin after leaving Red Bull at the end of the season, and Fernando Alonso retiring from Formula 1 and being replaced by ORT Roberts. And as you can tell, ORT Roberts is loving the Aston Martin car that Adrian Newey has designed for this season. Can Aston Martin be a title contender this time over McLaren and Ferrari? Meanwhile, with Red Bull, with Roberts gone, they have decided to promote Liam Lawson into the team, and Max Verstappen stays with them for another season. But however, Red Bull, after missing out on third in the Constructors to Ford, are going to continue their struggles, as Red Bull have some real poor reliabilities with the Ford engine. As you can see, Max Verstappen had issues with the car. Max Verstappen started having engine issues and was cursing in the team radio, showing that this will be a very long season for Red Bull, not the preseason that they wanted. Meanwhile, with Mercedes, they retained George Russell and Alex Albon, but Alex Albon did make this mistake and managed to stall his car in testing. Unfortunately, Albon was not able to get the car out and unfortunately stalled the engine. They are questioning, is Albon going to be Mercedes worthy for the season, or will they replace him with another driver during the mid-season? And now we have Ford still keeping Lando Norris and Mick Schumacher in their lineup. And despite the fact Ford got third in the Constructors, they are showing some real struggles for this season, as they are sitting in the midfield, and Norris is going to have to get a lot of work of dragging that Ford. But he did make a mistake during testing, but thankfully was able to continue in testing and didn't bin it into the wall. But expecting Ford will have to make some massive improvements. But with BMW Williams, they have made some very drastic improvements with an all-new lineup of Antonelli and Pourchaire, and Williams are no longer the worst team on the grid. They only got 1 point after Logan Sargent's point in Baku, and Sargent and Joe had lost their seats at Williams. Joe is now a reserve driver for Ferrari, and while Logan Sargent decided to go to IndyCar for this season. Renault still keep their same lineup as well, with Felipe Drugovich and Esteban Ocon, and have had some real good improvements over last season, where Drugovich and Ocon did struggle to score points for Renault despite Ocon's podium. Drugovich still showing some good pace in that Renault, and can he get over from his poor last season? But Ocon is questioning, will he stay at Renault for next season after he put his car into the wall? But thankfully he was still able to continue on, but had damage to his car. And now we got Jaguar. They had a really bad testing, now sitting 21st and 22nd, and possibly might be the worst team on the grid, with some real poor reliabilities. They have recruited Isaac Hadjar into the team, as you can see, Hadjar suffered an engine failure, and this is going to be some real difficulties for Jaguar. Could this be a real tricky year for Jaguar? But they are expecting some upgrades to come in soon for the second race in Malaysia. Expect to see some improvements for Jaguar. And now we have Audi. They still keep Carlos Sainz after his amazing P7 finish last season. And Gabriel Bortoleto has signed for the team after Pourchaire departed from Audi, as he was not happy about the fact after his demotion from Ferrari in 2025, he still had no pace to match his teammate. But Audi have had an absolute howler of a testing, as they are now in the back with a poor engine for 2027, and Carlos Sainz is going to be having a lot of words to say to Audi over his poor performance during preseason testing. This is not looking good for Audi. And finally we have Andretti, who have got a new recruit of Oliver Behrman, and once again they are still at the back, the second worst car on the grid. They still keep Colton Herta in the team, but it's going to be a real tough challenge for Andretti for this season, as they are sitting the second worst car on the grid. And now here is a lap where ORT Roberts was the quickest driver in pre-season testing, and as you can see, Aston Martin are the team to challenge for the title with Ferrari and McLaren. And I hope you are excited for season 6, for the 2027 season. I am as well. I hope it will be there, and I will see you all in Melbourne. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get to 1k if you enjoy this content. Let's get to 1k, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.